Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 28th of May. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm going to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. Right. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after the live 24 hours. Well, we've been seeing an awful lot about the talks the last few days, but actually, in practical terms, last weekend when the talks seemed to be very close and there was like 95% agreed and everyone seemed fairly positive about it, and even the Iranians admitted that there were actually talks going on which might go somewhere. This went up from about 24% low to about 59%. It's now back down to 34. There were bombing attacks from the US, which were apparently defensive bombing attacks in Iran on Monday, and we had more of those last night. I think the Iranians shot down a couple of very expensive drones last week, and on Monday, and they attacked the US base in Kuwait this morning. Is there still a ceasefire? Well, neither side has come out and said the ceasefire's actually ended. But one of the Iranian red lines was they said, well, obviously the ceasefire has to apply in Lebanon as well, and the Israelis seem to have started a full-scale offensive in Lebanon, which again is not particularly promising. So, is there a ceasefire at all here? I don't know. Possibly. Is there any enthusiasm for continuing to negotiate? Well, based on what Trump's been saying, I suspect not much. So he's been saying basically Iran needs to sign up to the Abraham Accords and sort of basically enter into alliance with Israel. I think the chances of that happening are none. He's also demanding that a whole load of the other, saying that the Middle East, the Gulf states all owe him and they all need to sign up to the Abraham Accords. I don't think there's any chance of that happening either. Furthermore, I think really what they're seeing is, having suffered an awful lot from basically an Israeli and US attack on Iran, which has put them in a much weaker position going forward, I don't think they're feeling particularly grateful. Even if they were, I don't think they would concede this particular point. I'm not sure there are any meaningful talks going on here, but we will see how that goes. In the meantime, got to say, we've hit some targets to the upside. We have broken nothing of significance. The topping setup that I've been looking at for weeks still looks pretty nice. The head and shoulders are gone, but they've been replaced by double tops and possible part-formed head and shoulders. On ES, this is a nice looking double top. On NQ, possible head and shoulders forming. Might be an asymmetric double top, but I'd be leaning more towards the head and shoulders at that point. Very nice looking double top here on RTY. Which has now made the sell signal target, or at least the possible MS target. YM, possible part-formed head and shoulders here. Nice looking double top on DAX. Possible part-formed head and shoulders on ESTX and on Nikkei as well. So we've also made the sell signal target on Nikkei. I'm not seeing an awful lot of reason for the market to be going up here, and I have to say I'm leaning somewhat short today. We will see how that goes. We saw a big dip down last night on the attacks, and we're seeing a strong recovery this morning. But I suspect, even though the bullish stats for today are pretty strong, I suspect that we're going to be flat or down at the close tonight. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. All right, looking at SPX. SPX, RSI 5 sell signal fixed, possible RSI 14 sell signal is now brewing. Same on ES. Didn't have any divergence on the hourly chart. We had no divergence on the 15-minute chart either. This is a nice looking potential double top here. All right, looking at the Qs, we have gone higher. You can see I expanded out this chart a bit to show the resistance trend line here. This is the trend line I was complaining about a week ago that we hadn't reached, and I was kind of thinking it should. This is us reaching that trend line, already pretty much. And we've now got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing as well. On the hourly chart, tiny bit of divergence here, some weak sell signal maybe. 15-minute chart, no divergence. In terms of Dia, In terms of the bigger picture, we are still respecting the overall trend line here for the move up from this would be the 2020 low. So very nice looking large double top here. The smaller double top that I was looking at has basically disappeared on the move up, but we did fix the unfinished business we had at the retest of the all-time high. So that is done. Could this be a double top here? No, this would be a part formed head and shoulders, and we've got a couple of options for the necklines here. All right, let's have a look at the IWM chart. Right, IWM. We got here a move up to trendline resistance, and again, we are heading trendline resistance. So it's nice. And this would be an obvious place to see a high, although there is on all of these. None of these are channels. There is a possibility of a bearish overthrow on all of them. But honestly, it could fail right here, and there's not really an awful lot to be looking at in terms of the peace talks. In terms of the IWM hourly chart, a little bit of negative divergence here. I haven't marked them in, and we got some RSI 14 sell signals fixed as well. DAX, we haven't quite retested the high, but I'm wondering if we're going to. Nikkei, we've already retested the high, and we've broken my trend line. I'm going to wait to see whether this lands and see whether we've got an alternate trend line here. We do have a couple of options from this high here, from this high here. Unlikely to be from this high one here in my view, but we will see how that goes. But I am wondering whether we're going to be looking at an alternate trend resistance trend line. All right, let's have a look at DX. Now DX, we were seeing some action to the downside yesterday on equities, and we were seeing a fairly tall spike, although much of that has been given back overnight on oil, and we saw a retest of the basically the range high on the dollar. I think this is just waiting for a turn, and it is champing at the bit to head up and retest this target here, which would be this next target. In terms of the other indices, not seeing an awful lot on the euro. GBP, we had a possible buy signal brewing, and we lost that divergence. USD/JPY is heading up towards the target here at a retest of this high. That's looking pretty good. USD CAD has actually made the target here that I called 14th of May, and that has now made it. Might be seeing a bit of a reversal here, but that is a nice looking touch. On Australian dollar, possible head and shoulders forming. NZ, possible head and shoulders forming. All right, looking at bonds. Bonds, I am wondering whether this might go a little higher, but we've seen quite a nice rally here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this turn back down. On ZN, nice looking bear flag. We will see how this goes, but I'm expecting these, might see a bit higher, but I'm expecting these to turn down after that. In terms of oil, we actually had a whole load of hourly buy signals fixed yesterday at the lows. We've got one on Brent here, and we've broken over declining resistance. On CL, we've got one, and that's broken over declining resistance. We do have some head and shoulder targets a little lower. I am wondering about a little lower, but I'm thinking if we come down to this level here, I'd be really leaning towards seeing a reversal back up. In terms of HO, we've got a possible level top here. I'm not taking particularly seriously, but we have broken over this decline resistance. We've got a 6-minute buy signal, and I'm thinking that's probably reached the possible MS target. RBOB, we didn't get a buy signal. But again, kind of looks like a flag too. NG, not really related to the others, but I'm wondering about a possible breakup over the weekly pivot here. We shall see. We still have a valid IHS which is broken up with a target in the 3.46 area. I'm skeptical about making target, but I am thinking we might form a larger flag A, B, C. We will see how that goes. All right, looking at GC, I was speculating that this was a bear flag at the start of the week and that we'd probably retest this low, and I was wondering whether we'd make the double top target. We made the double top target last night, and on the move down as oil was going up and equities were going down as the US was bombing one of the Iranian cities. So wondering about that, but I would say we had an IHS breakup a while ago. That's now failed too. And that means that we do have an open target down here at a retest of this low, and I'm wondering if that's going to be done. SI, this little bear flag broke down, made target, but I'm wondering if it might go lower. Palladium broke down, made that target, and I'm wondering if that might go lower. Platinum broke down, made that target. So we had a series of little bear flags here. They all made target, but I'm wondering whether they will go a bit lower now. HG, we had a sell signal that made target too. We haven't retested this low yet, and I think we're probably waiting for a significant return in equities to do that. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. KC. KC, this still looks like a bear flag setting up a retest of the short-term low. That could be part of a larger bottoming process. SB, this triangle has failed hard. I don't think this is expanding. I think this is probably heading back towards the retest of the low. No current positive divergence. CC, nice rally here. The head and shoulders with the target in the 3,500 area has not yet failed. And it could fail, but until then, we've still got an open target down in the 3,500 area. On cotton, breaking up slightly over declining resistance, but I don't know how much we read into that. I think this is likely a bull flag forming. Same with wheat, same with corn, same with soy, all for the same reason, and same with soybean oil, all for the same reason, which is they're all dependent on urea, which is something which is being blocked from coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, and the fertilizer that urea is based on has tripled in price in the last 3 months. All right, lumber, I think we're just going sideways until we see a turn on equities, and after that we likely resume the larger downtrend. Live cattle, this looks like a head and shoulders forming. This would be a bearish take if we break down from this and continue down. I'd be wondering about a retest this low here in the 221.5 area. HE, we've got a nice looking 60-minute buy signal fix, and we've made a couple of lower lows since then, but it looks as though it might actually be playing out now. We will see how that goes, but if so, we might see a test of the week to pivot possibly higher. Does this look like a bottoming setup? Possibly early stage, but not really. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. No questions. Everyone take care. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. All right, cheers.